It's the CalebDMTG Show.
Section 2. Blue, the blue cards. Baithook. Baithook Angler. 2 mana for a 2/1 with Disturb. Comes back as a 1/2 flyer. That seems solid. 2 mana for a Goblin Piker is like totally reasonable filler. If it comes back as a flyer, even if it's like a rinky-dink flyer, like a 1/2 body, this still like trades with a lot of stuff in the air. Gets in for some pecs. Cool. Component Collector, 2 and a white. Creature, Homunculus. It's neither day nor night. Becomes day when it enters the battlefield. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you may tap or untap target non-land permanent. So this is just a horned turtle. Horned turtle with a slight amount of value attached. I get to port some things. This seems like the sort of ability I'm going to forget about until it kills me. Is what I'm expecting. It's going to be like irrelevant for me 100% of the time, and then the time I forget about it, and my opponent's like, yep, tap your blocker, you're dead. It's definitely happening. But yeah, good in like the blue-white flyers archetype. But maybe you don't want to draft it too heavily aside from that. Horned turtles in general. I guess it's solid in blue-black control too. Just a good blocker. All is well you shall have, yeah. Consider. Look at the top card of your library. You can put that card in your graveyard. Draw a card. Yeah, this card's a lot fucking better than Opt, huh? Yeah, chat's saying that it's going to be huge in Historic Phoenix. I can see that for sure. Absolutely. And a great limited card. People tend to underestimate Opt-in Limited. But it's the sort of card that just like lets you keep a wider range of openers, so you're mulliganing less. And if you have actual good cards in your deck, if you have actual bombs worth cantripping towards, then you can kind of just like stack ops, right? You can just stack cantrips, play as many as you want. And you'll be able to do that with Consider too. You can play like 4 or 5 in a deck, it's totally fine. Just be sure to lower your land count a bit. Love it. Maybe my pick for most important card we've seen so far. Constructed wise. Covetous Castaway, 1 in a blue. Creature human. When it dies, mill 3 cards. Ooh. Ghostly Castigator. I don't know, Sakai. I don't know that. Ghostly Castigator, flying. When enters the battlefield, you may shuffle up to 3 target cards from your graveyard into your library. And then it would be put in the graveyard from anywhere, exile it. I mean, 5 mana for a 3/4 flyer is good, as I've already talked about in this review. That's like a really good rate. The ability is not really a constructed ability, shuffling up to 3 target cards from your graveyard. That's something you want limited in those like super long limited games. Or even just like putting 3 removal spells back in your deck and shuffling them back in is going to increase like the spell density of your deck, right? If the game lasts long enough. Having a better chance to draw something good certainly matters. Yeah, I think this card's good. The slower the limited format is, the better this card is. The last Innistrad format definitely had time for cards like this to get their value. Curse of Surveillance. That's a lot of eyeballs. 4 and a blue enchant player. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, any number of target players other than that player each draw cards equal to the number of curses attached to that player. Okay. God, the high-res version, the high-res art looks so much more grotesque. Fucking amazing. So you're spending 5 mana and then you get to draw an extra card every turn. It's worded kind of clunky because it's, you know, good for multiplayer play that way. I would definitely include this in a sealed deck. A 5 mana enchantment that draws you 2 cards a turn. Well, I mean, it draws you 1 card a turn, but lets you draw 2 cards a turn. It's pretty great. Less good in an aggro deck, but that's going to happen less often in sealed, of course. Yeah, if you played 2 of these on an opponent, you would get to draw 4, yeah? You draw it on their draw step, not yours? Yeah, but you're still drawing 2 a turn. You draw the card. You draw the... So, like, you're tapping out for this on 5. They take their turn, you draw the card, and then you draw your normal card for turn. So even if it's set upkeep, you would still get the cards at the same amount of time. It's actually slightly better this way, if you have, like, instants that you could draw into. But for the most part, it's functionally similar to just, like, drawing another card on your upkeep. Anyway, sweet card, sweet little draw engine. Reminds me of the Blue Honden. Delver of Secrets, 1 blue, human wizard. Neat little reprint. I look forward to playing this card in Historic. Potentially Standard. For Delver to be good, there just has to be a critical mass of playable cantrips, instants and sorceries and stuff. We're gonna have to consider, is Opt still gonna be around when Delver's in? Why is the art goofy? I mean, it's a madman turning himself into a human insect. What do you what do you want? You want some Marvel muscles in there? Become a Mothman with muscles! Not goofy at all! It's uncommon though? Yeah. The uncommon matters for limited play. I actually really enjoyed the old Innistrad Delver archetype. Delver would always table. So you could just, like, count on getting, like, 3 or 4 of them into your deck, because they were common. And then you just, like, draft a bunch of shitty instants and sorceries. Which are all, like, situationally good. I murdered a lot of people with Delver in that Innistrad format. I would say that I used to joke that it was Moonheron with suspend question mark. Anyway, more of a constructed card though, for sure. Especially since you can only draft 1. Well, I mean, you're probably not going to see multiples in limited because it's an uncommon is what I'm getting at. Less of a build around then. Because the payoff is, like, less worth it if you don't have a bunch of them in your deck. So yeah, more of a constructed card. And what a constructed card, huh? Still seeing a little bit of legacy play. Gotten pushed out a bit by Ragavan and DRC. But some decks are still playing a couple. Yeah, should be sweet. Should be fun. Devious Cover-Up. This is another reprint, right? 4 mana, instant, counter target spell. That spell is countered this way. Exile it instead of putting it in opponent's graveyard. You can shuffle 4 cards from your graveyard into your library. I think this is a reprint. I might be mistaken. But yeah, if you can Devious Cover-Up in your control deck and shuffle in a previously cast Devious Cover-Up, just demonstrate a loop, never be able to deck. More people in chat commenting about how they think the Delver art is fugly. It's a horror set. Dissipate, another Counterspell reprint. Also a good reprint for a Graveyard Matters set, huh? With the Exile Clause being relevant. Really cool art too. Reminds me of some older Magic sets. Like the hyper-realistic human in the foreground with like a kind of surreal shade-looking thing in the background. That's sweet. Very stylized. I like the art coming through the light coming through the shade. Really cool art. Drown Yard Amalgam, 4 and a blue. Creature zombie horror. When it enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards. But 3 mana can be blocked this turn. Huh. I think I like this card. Gets in when it needs to get in. Blocks super well. If you're doing the mill thing, like it's good for that. If you're doing the self-mill thing, you want to get that graveyard value, it's good for that too. Got a relevant creature type. There's a lot going on with this art. It looks like the moon is like raining or something. Not really sure what's happening. And there's like a tiny lighthouse in the distance. I don't know what that is either. It's cool. Just a little perplexing. The moon, you mean Emrakul? Yeah, I mean Emrakul. Fading Hope. Blue, instant. Return target creature to an owner's hand if its mana value was 3 or less, scry 1. So it's just unsummon. But if you're bouncing something piddly, you get to scry. You get to scry about it. Gives you some nice tension with your options. Do you bounce your opponent's like 3-drop or their 5-drop? How much does the scry matter? It makes saving your own creature a little bit more interesting too. Like if you save a smaller creature. Another unsummon with upside, yeah. Kill a token, get a scry. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. You said it's not Vapor Snag? Yeah. Vapor Snag was really good with Snapcaster. And your 4 snag, 4 gut shot, 4 Snapcaster, just like drain people out. Anyway. Falcon Abomination, 2 and a blue. Holy shit, that art. That's fucking incredible. Zombie bird. Flying. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. So the Decayed zombie can't block when it attacks you second at the end of combat. I saw someone asking on Twitter, I think it was Seth, whether like 2 regular 1/1s were better, or having a 2/2 with Decay was better. Seems like having 2 1/1s is way better, right? They can block and stuff, or attack multiple times. This card's fine though. 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer is like already okay. You can do other things with the 2/2 body besides attack with it, and sack it or whatever. LSV says that a single 1/1 is better. I think LSV is probably right. Yeah. It was better than a single 1/1. Okay, sure. I'm misremembering the question. Very easy for me to do. My poor soggy noggin. But a single 1/1 being better does sound right to me. Ferment Sage, 3 to blue, 2/3, creature, human, wizard. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day. As it enters the battlefield, when day becomes night or night becomes day, draw a card. I'm just laughing because I was talking up the white versions of this effect that were like filtering and rummage and like impulsing for shitty creatures. And blue just like has the same ability, but it gets to actually draw cards. This is an uncommon though, and it does cost 4. So it is scaled appropriately in comparison to the white cards. Yeah, sweet stuff. Definitely more of a control card, right? With those stats. So you're gonna have to spend the time to play this on turn 4 and not be like super far behind. Either the opponent's gonna have to have a weak opener, or you're gonna have to spend some time buying time for it, right? Playing better blockers before it, playing like efficient removal before it, and then hopefully you untap with this and it starts taking over the game, which you can do, certainly do. Don't need to draw many cards for that to run away with the game. Flip the switch, 2 and a blue, instant, counter target spell unless its controller pays 4, and then you get a black zombie creature token with Decayed. Okay. There's gonna be a fucking quest to like only kill someone with decay zombies in a limited format. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen for sure. Gale Drifter, 3 and a blue, 3/2, flying. With Disturb. Yeah, usually I don't value these situational counterspells very highly. The soft counters. They're totally fine though. Totally fine filler. Yeah, it's Moon Heron, but it also has Disturb. The Disturb side has like a 2/2 flyer attached. Yeah, there's so much value on these commons. It seems like you're never gonna run out of shit to do. It should make for a really fun limited experience. Stuff to do when you're flooding out. Yeah, the flip art's sweet. Nice take on the front side. Geist Wave, 1 and a blue, instant. Return a non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If you controlled that permanent, draw a card. So it's another bounce spell. This one also rewards you for bouncing your own things.
Oh shit, what up?
Hey, Nace 412, thanks for the sub, thanks for sharing that prime. This is going to be a huge blowout if your opponent, like, plays a pacifism type effect on your card. We only saw like one of those in this format, though. Cool card overall. Not a early pick. Bounce spells are rarely early picks. But not a card I mind having in my deck either. Grafted Identity, 2 blue blue. As an additional cost to cast it, sack a creature, enchant creature, you control enchanted creature. And enchanted creature gets +1/+1. So control magic effects are so good that this card is just going to be like a card that you're really excited to open in limited. And the format is like full of creatures you don't mind sacrificing. There's like, your counterspells are giving you zombie bodies that you don't mind sacking. Your commons come back as like other flyers. Some decks might even want to like actively sacrifice things, in which case that's like kind of an upside even. I'm trying to think if this will see any constructed play. I feel like actual factual control magic would be good in today's standard. I almost feel like you'll want to you'd be in the spot of wanting to sacrifice things if you want to play this card. Mind Flayer sees constructed play. Yeah, Mind Flayer is value though. Right? Too slow? I don't think 4 mana is too slow for control magic. You think it's too fragile? Oh, just getting rid of the aura? Yeah, if they get rid of the aura and get their thing back after you've sacked a creature, you can almost like only play this in a deck that actively wants to sack its creatures. In standard, probably won't come up. But yeah, limited bomb for sure. Alright, Larder Zombie. 1 blue, creature zombie defender. Tap 3 untapped creatures you control. Look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. What? So you can do self-mill, but by tapping these things. The defender on this is so weird. I love the art. I love the art on this. You tap your decayed tokens for the self-mill aspect. Yeah, I mean, I guess you play it in your deck that cares about it. You think it reads like a card from 20 years ago? Yeah, right? Maybe something from, like, Onslaught or Odyssey Block. Tap 3 creatures to Surveil 1. I mean, Surveil 1 is good. Like, if it just tapped itself to Surveil 1, it'd be like a nuttier version of that Starfish from Modern Horizons 2. It's probably better than it looks, the Larder Zombie. It's probably better than it looks. But you kind of have to be playing a deck that has extra zombie bodies lying around, or is like really good at stabilizing, really good at gumming up the old board, Liar, Disciple of the Drowned. 3 blue, legendary creature, human wizard. Spells can't be countered. And each instant and sorcery in your graveyard has flashback. Flashback's equal to the card's mana cost. It's a 3/4. So it's like a, I mean, basically a flashback. Past in Flames costs 5 mana, and then has that ability, but it's permanent. And then it says spells can't be countered. So you're not playing this alongside Counterspells, but it's still sort of good in combo-y and removal and draw shells. A very EDH card, yeah. Yeah, the spells can't be countered on there, like, kind of limits the decks that it can go into, which is probably a good thing. This would be this would be sort of miserable to face against like an all counterspell opponent. You can play not counter spells, like exile target spell type deals. I mean, people do flashback Past in Flames for the win sometimes. So it's possible that it'll see niche play there. Locked in the Cemetery, 1 in the blue, enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enters the battlefield if there are 5 or more cards in your graveyard, tap enchanted creature, and then it doesn't untap. Your controller's untap step. So if your opponent's attacked with a creature, you can just throw this on it, and then the comes into play ability doesn't matter. This is about where blue removal should be, right? A little wonky, a little finicky, but passable, not worthless. Malevolent Hermit, 1 in the blue, human wizard. Sacrifice Malevolent Hermit. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 3. Disturb 2 in the blue. Wow, Kai got old, huh? Benevolent Geist. Creature Spear Wizard. Flying non-creature spells you control can't be countered. Sweet. Yeah, this is right on the edge of, like, being interesting for constructed play. It's awkward when you're playing with, like, a face-up counterspell. Especially one that the opponent can interact with, like, really cheap removal. Still good against, like, sweepers and stuff. And then you get that replay value. Well, it's certainly not a... Yeah. Why does everyone reference Kai? Kai won an Invitational. And his Invitational card was blue-blue, 2/1 wizard, where you could sacrifice a wizard for double blue to counter a spell. Void Mage Prodigy, I think was its name. Was I'm... No, something. Anyway, I think it had Morph. Very similar abilities. And also being like 2 mana for a 2/1. Anyway. Memory Deluge, 2 blue, instant, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast the spell. Put 2 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Oh, you can flash it back for 7. Isn't this card, like, really good?
Oh shit, what up?
Hey, Pony Slay Station. Thanks for the 38 months there. You think this is not as good as Fact or Fiction? Really? I mean, the flashback is a fucking is a dig through time that you're like almost playing for full, but you pay that much for dig through time sometimes, and it's still super good. Yeah, it's instant. The front side is not dig through time. The front side, I mean, you're looking at 4 cards. It's very similar to like the Scry 4 draw 2 sorcery, but I mean that card as an instant isn't bad.
Oh shit, what up?
Hey, Kane's Land, thanks to the Sobbies the 5 months there.
Oh shit, what up?
J25F, thanks to the Sobbies the 13 months. Hair's growing back quick. It's growing back quick. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I like it. I'm into it. The front side is better than Scry 2 Draw 2, for sure. It's very similar to Scry 4 Draw 2. And Scry 4 Draw 2 is great, I agree. Yeah, this card's sweet. You think Historic Control might play it? Yeah, maybe. I was kind of thinking about Modern. Those Wilderness Reclamation decks. Kind of a niche thing, but... possibly better than Fact or Fiction there. Because the flashback value is so good. And Wilderness Rec can just, like, pay the 7. Anyway. Yeah, card seems awesome. Mysterious Tome. 2 and a blue artifact. 2 mana, draw a card, transform Mysterious Tome. Ooh. What do you transform into? Oh, I hope it's sweet. A Chilling Chronicle. Ooh. This book just got scary. 1. Tap target non-land permanent. Transform Chilling Chronicle. It stays tapped when it transforms, obviously, right? God, can you imagine if it untapped? Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, this card's cool. This seems like the sort of shit I'll draft pretty highly and win a lot of games with. That's how it seems to me. You think it's a pack one, pick one? Yeah. Yeah. I think the format would have to be really fast for this not to be good. And it might even be good in a really fast format. Like, the tap's not bad.
Oh shit, what up?
Oh shit, what up? Hey bro, thanks for the sub, thanks for the 63 months. Transform is not untapped, no. Fortunately. This card would be, like, not an uncommon if Transform untapped, right? And it might cost more. You almost like it for standard? Yeah, right? Almost, huh? Almost. Not quite, but almost. Doublegast Intruder, 2 and a blue, creature spirit, flash flying, enters the battlefield up to 1 target creature. Opponent controls gets -2 -0 until end of turn. Neat little trick. I think with all the flying value that's around, like all of the creatures that come back as Piddler Flyers and stuff, kind of makes just playing a 3 mana 2/1 flyer a little bit worse. That said, this will win combat. If you're in a shitty Flyers mirror, you will get to shrink their thing, let your thing win. There's value in that. Yeah, card seems solid. Trades with a Flip Delver. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's super relevant, but yeah. It does block a 2x without dying. So your opponent attacks with a Windrake, you get to eat it. That's where you're happy. That's where you're happiest. Ominous Roost. 2 and a blue enchantment. When it enters the battlefield or whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, you get a 1/1 blue bird creature token with flying. Oh, but they can only block creatures with flying. It's a very powerful card, but not nearly as obnoxious as this style of card usually is. Because usually when your opponent's just like shitting out a pile of birds for basically free, like they're attacking you with like 4 birds in the air and then also blocking your biggest thing, and you just like have no way of racing. Like the birds themselves give you the aggression and the counterplay. That's part of why like Bitter Blossom was so frustrating back in the day, right? It was attacking and defense. They kind of fixed that aspect of this card. This is still a very powerful card, a really fun card to build around. This is still going to win plenty of games of Limited, but it's not going to be quite as frustrating to play against. That seems like really good design to me. Organ Hoarder, 3 and blue, creature zombie. Also very Innistrad, huh? Reminds me of those old Innistrad enchantments that did stuff when you flashback cards. Organ Hoarder, 3 and blue, creature zombie. You can pack one, pick one this and build around it. Or you can go absolutely last pick because nobody wants to build around it. It's that sort of card, an Ominous Roost. Anyway, now Organ Hoarder. Hoarding them organs. Love it. When there's the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library and put one of them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Oh, that's awesome. That's a sweet ability. Go with graveyard, interaction. That's just good value. Way better than drawing a card. And 4 mana with a 3/2 draw card would be like fine filler. Almost makes this card like better than filler. Reminds me of that rock opera about organ harvesting. With that dude from Buffy. Would it be a mythic if it had flash? Organ Hoarder? I don't know. Probably not. Yeah, Repo Man. Repo the Genetic Opera. Otherworldly Gaze. Oh man, I love all these eyes. I don't know what it is about just like a pile of eyes, but it's like kind of a creepy, fun, magical aesthetic, almost occultish. Reminds me of the Helsing anime. Otherworldly Gaze. 1 blue instant. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard. The rest back on top of your library in any order. Flashback 1 in a blue. So there's a card sort of like this in original Innistrad that would just mill 3. And I think you could point it at your opponent. But it was often used for self-mill too. And this card's way better than that if you're self-milling. Because you don't have to like bin your payoff card. A Baby Thought Scour? Sort of. In terms of turning on graveyard effects, this is like better than Thought Scour. But Thought Scour, like drawing a card, was way better. Yeah, Dream Twist, that's the card I'm thinking of. Anyway. So you're only going to want this card in like a very specific deck. This card's going to get like really overplayed with people just like thinking that it's good filtering. But filtering in and of itself isn't really worth the card. You need to have like a body attached, or you need to like draw a card on the end so it replaces itself. Something. I would very rarely play this card. I would only play this card if you got some kind of an engine going on, some kind of a self-mill engine. Do not play this one just because. Overwhelmed Archivist, 2 and a blue, 3/2. Enters battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. Sure, sweet. Get your loot on. And then it comes back as a 2/1 flyer. Disturb 3 and a blue. When it attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Neat stuff. A little disappointing in comparison to the looter from original Innistrad. It was like 3 mana for just like a rinky-dink looter, but if you discarded a creature, it did the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. It'd just be like a 5-1. It would just like untap and be a 5-1. Just murder people out of nowhere. That was a fucked up looter. Sometimes you didn't want it to flip, so you had to like discard some better cards instead of some rinky-dink creature. You think it's nuts and limited? I don't know about nuts. Like, it's not repeated loots. The first turn time it comes down, right? It's 3 mana, you get your 3/2. Just a single loot. And then you have to bring it back. And then it loots on attacking. Seems like there's a lot of stuff in this format that's going to be able to trade with this, even after it becomes a flyer. So I don't think this card's going to be nutty. I don't think it's going to be like a huge, obvious first pick or anything like that. But it's good, and it does have value. Certainly not a bad card. Patrician Geist. 2 and a blue, 2/2. Spirit Knight. Oh, hey, hey. With flying, other spirits you control get +1/+1, and then spells you cast from your graveyard cost 1 less to cast. Dang. This is close. I haven't played Modern Spirits in a long time, but that deck was kind of my baby. Helped put that one on the map. Yeah, the issue with a competitive Spirits deck, if you're playing this in Modern, is that like the 3-drops are the most competitive spot. Like you don't have room for Geist of Saint Draft, you don't have room for this one, right?
Oh shit, what up?
Hey Dragonheart, thanks for the sub, thanks for 53 months there. Yeah, Modern Spirits can't use the last line at all. So this would just be a 2/2 Lord. Just be like a worse version of the 2-mana 1/3. The Lords for Spirits. Reduces the cost of Lingering Souls. Sure. Now just pay a single black. Woo! Spirits is viable again! That's all we needed. Anyway. What about Historic? Historic does spirit things too, right? Isn't Historic like missing a Spirit Lord? Maybe. I haven't messed with it. I haven't played like Pioneer Spirits or Historic Spirits at all. Maybe this is good for those. I just don't know. In Limited, there's probably enough Spirit cards for this to be useful. I mean, the floor is you've got a 3-mana 2/2 flyer, so there's nothing wrong with grabbing it and trying to build around it. And the last line is going to be more useful in Limited than Constructed. I don't know about Bomb in Limited. You're not pumping all of your stuff. The saving you mana is like situational. But you can certainly draft it early. Seems like a very beatable Limited card. But potentially good, potentially powerful. Phantom Carriage. 4 blue, flying. Creature Spirit, 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a card with Flashback. Or Disturb. Put in your graveyard, then shuffle. Oh, this card's sick. 6 mana for a 4/4 flyer would already be like borderline pretty good for Limited. And this also gives you graveyard value. Also gives you like, it kind of like draws you half a card, right? Potentially better. Sometimes like the Disturb card is even better than the front side. So it's like actually drawing you a card. Yeah, this card's awesome. Why isn't it a Spirit Horse? Because it's a carriage. the card is not the like sick ass skeletal horses that look all like awesome and terrifying. The card is the little ring-a-dink carriage that they're carrying. This is a sentient piece of wood with like wheels that are super not relevant. We don't even know why it's got wheels. Poppet Stitcher. 2 and a blue, creature, human, wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, get a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. At the end of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, you can transform it. This card kind of seems like a standalone win con so far. The Poppet Factory. Creature tokens you control lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 3/3. At the end of your upkeep, you may transform Poppet Factory. Interesting. I kind of love this card. What do you need to flip it again? You just need like 3. Now this card's a limited bomb. There's so many cards that give you these shitty zombie creatures that aren't good for anything. And this turns them into 3/3s that are totally good for something. And then when you run out of them, you can flip it back and make more. Yeah, pack 1, pick 1 for sure. I don't know if it's good enough for Constructed. Probably not, because it's vulnerable to removal. Sometimes those cards see constructed play though, like those young pyromancer effects. I certainly played a fucking Talrand in constructed. This ability is not quite as good as those though. Because the creature tokens that it makes, like, if you play your young pyromancer and then play a cantrip, like you can block a Tarmogoyf or something with the token that turn. These zombies can't block immediately. The Poppet needs to transform, and then they're useful. So it's like a more powerful effect. But because it needs to flip, it's a little bit more all-in. You care more if they kill it first. It's more than just saying dies to Doomblade, right? Because like I was saying, if you can make instant speed value with something like Young Pyromancer, and then the value has value, right? You have 1/1s that can do something. These zombies don't really get to be full creatures until you get the flip. So it's hard. It's harder. More powerful, but also more difficult. Revenge of the Drowned. 3 and a blue instant. Target creature's owner puts it into the top or bottom of the library. You create a 2/2 zombie creature token with Decayed. Sure. This card would be a lot better if it just like always put it on the top or the bottom. Letting the opponent choose makes it much worse. Still a totally fine card though. More fillerish. Just what you're using to like let your creatures get in for that last push. Cast it on your opponent's end of turn on their best blocker. Get another 2/2 to attack with. Secrets of the Key. 1 blue instant. Investigate. If the spell was cast from a graveyard, investigate twice instead. This card is also pretty fillerish. You almost have to have cards that interact with tokens or artifacts or graveyard costs or something. Or maybe it is a Graveyard Matters set. You don't get to draw the card immediately though. So it is very clunky. It's card advantage, but just like very clunky card advantage. How much worse is it compared to the 1/2 Inspector? Much worse. Much worse than the Crab, too. Both of those come with a body. Both of those have board impact. A cheap body is really good. Shipwreck Sifters. 1 in the blue, 1/2. You should be more comparing this to something like Think Twice or something. And this is much worse than that, right? Just from the sheer volume of mana. Shipwreck Sifters, 1 in the blue, 1/2. Creature Spirit. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, discard a card. Discard a spirit card or a card with Disturb. Put a 1/1 counter on it. Whenever you discard a spirit or a card with Disturb. I mean, if you just like drafting a bunch of cards with Disturb, and there's plenty of them at common, you have even had other ways of looting them away. Just like grow this. Grow your sifters. Interesting. Yeah, not good in every deck. Not amazing. In some decks, it's like kind of bad filler. But in other decks, I could see it being like actively good. If you're playing this like halfway consistently as a 2-mana 2/3, I think it becomes actively good. Scab Wrangler. 1 in the blue, 2/1. Tap 3 untap creatures you control. Tap target creature. Yeah, Goblin Pikers don't need much. They don't need much to be good. And this ability is not much. Tapping 3 creatures is a lot of creatures. Oh, on the other hand, Like, you have all these fucking zombie tokens. If you're playing a deck that just, like, makes a shit pile of zombie tokens, maybe this card's really good. Yeah. Yeah, it's possible all the tap 3 creatures cards are just, like, way better than they look on paper due to that nature of the format. Could take over. This is going to be one of those bomb in the right deck sort of cards, maybe. Sludge Monster. 3 blue blue, 5/5, creature horror. When it enters battlefield or attacks, put a slime counter on up to one other target creature. Non-horror creatures with slime counters on them lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 2/2. Interesting. So your opponent's bomb becomes a 2/2. It comes into play, makes something a 2/2, and then attacks, makes something else a 2/2. You can also upgrade your zombies, because it makes them lose the ability. They can just like attack as normal. Yeah, this card seems really good. Really good for limited play. I don't know if there's any constructed implications. Maybe, maybe not. Certainly a first pick, though. Spectral Adversary. 1 in a blue, 2/1, flash flying. When it's battlefield, you may pay 1 blue any number of times. You pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many 1/1 counters on Spectral Adversary. Then up to that many other target artifacts, creatures, or enchantments phase out. It's got flash flying, it's a spirit. I don't know how good this card is. The one that anthems repeatedly is like really easy to evaluate. So this is mostly going to be used to phase out creatures that would be attacking you. It could be used to phase out creatures that would be blocking you. But that's going to happen less. Because, like, I think you're playing this card in a deck with other flyers. So your creatures already have evasion. So the ability seems somewhat defensive. Save your creatures from removal. Could do that. Anti-Wrath. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. You need a lot of mana to save a relevant number of creatures from Wrath. Like, just to play this and have it save itself from a Wrath, you need 4 mana. So if you want to save another creature too, you're spending 6 mana. How do you phase them back in? When creatures phase out, they just automatically phase in the next turn. Oh, it can't save itself. You're only phasing other things. It says other target artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Yeah, so you're spending 4 mana to save another creature from a Wrath. Which, I mean, that creature's got to be better than a 3/2 flyer, right? Because that's what it would be. Or you just play it after the sweep resolved. For 4 mana, you fog 2 attackers and block 1. Well, I mean, you'd have to spend 6 mana to fog 2 attackers, right? Because there's the base 2 up front. Blow out double blocks in limited. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, certainly a good limited card. Because of the flexibility there. I don't know if it'll be quite good enough for constructed. Kind of depends on if there's a deck, right? There's a lot of really shitty blue creatures that have seen constructed play. Just because, like, having really efficient counterspells rewards you for having like tiny little efficient blue bodies. You get some mono blue aggro deck together. So I'm not going to count it out. I'm not going to count it out for constructed play. I've certainly played worse. You're not sure it deserves mythic status? Yeah, it's a mythic card if you've got like 8 mana, right? And it's like a regular rare if you have 4 mana. The rarity symbol like changes in your hand depending on how much mana you have on. You only have 2 mana, it's a common. Startle, 1 in a blue. Instant, target creature gets -2/-0 until end of turn. You get a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed, draw a card. That card seems good to me. It's like a combat trick, you get to draw a card, and then, I mean, you may even have a use for the zombie body. I don't think you can like just like stack a deck full of these, unless you have a payoff for the zombie bodies. Unless like, you're like really making those do work. Stormrider Spirit. Really love this reprint. The card's always so cool. One of the attacks you with 2/2/2s, you're like, flash this in, eat your shit, attack you in the air. Love it. Simple, clean, good. Suspicious Stowaway, 1 in a blue. Human Rogue Werewolf, can't be blocked. What I have to do is combat damage to a player, loot. And it's got Daybound. It's a 1/1, base 1/1. And then it flips into a 2/1 that can't be blocked. A green Seafaring Werewolf. You can tell just by looking at this werewolf that it's got steady sea legs. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you just get to draw a card. Well, that's a way better Ophidian. One blockable business. Just drawing cards is way better than looting. You worked with that werewolf in the Navy? Yeah, I bet. Looks like a Navy wolf. Ooh, I want to see the art. I want to see the art, the alt art of the Seafaring Werewolf. Huh. This art's cool, but I can't really tell that it's seafaring, you know? I don't get enough hints. This is a true creature of the seas. Triskaidekaphile, 1 in a blue, creature, human, wizard. You have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. Oh man. These bullshit alt win conditions. Why are they so easy? And then 3 in a blue, draw a card. You can just sit there and draw to 13? Who's ever gonna be able to beat this? You can't even block it. I read somewhere on Twitter that the hands are actually doing American Hand Sign Language, but I forget what they say because my memory is shite. Still kind of cool though. Also, I think I saw another bit of trivia. Apparently, in like each Innistrad set, there's like 5 cards that reference the number 13 or something. Anyway, I love 13's what it says in hand sign language. Yeah, it sounds right. And all the hands and jars in the background. Unblinking Observer, 1 in a blue. Tap, add a blue. Spend this mana only to pay a disturb cost or cast an instant or sorcery spell. 13 words in the flavor text. Gotcha. That's what I was fudging. You would protect Unblinking Observer with your life? Yeah, right? Your opponent, like, points a removal spell at your Unblinking Observer. You're like, nope, I concede, it lives. It's still alive. I lose the game, I don't care. Yeah, that art's cute. How about this card for limited, I think you'd have to be, like, really in on disturb costs. We've seen this ability for instants and sorceries before, but it was on a 1/3. I feel like 2 mana for a 1/3 mana dork is a little bit better than 2 mana for a 2/1. A 2/1 is usually something that you want to just like trade with, right? You don't want to have to like save it around to get mana value with later. A 1/3 body you can like block with early and then use for mana late. More likely to be useful. It's about which is a better body for a mana dork, Warder 9. This is not like any mana dork, right? It's a situational mana dork. So you're spending that mana only to play a disturb cost. So that means that your creature is coming to play or died. Or you're casting an instant or sorcery. Those are like usually kind of expensive. In the early games in Limited, usually you want to be like curving out with creatures. So if you're just playing a Goblin Piker, it's going to trade with your opponent's Goblin Piker, and then you're not going to have your mana dork for when you want to play your expensive disturb costs or instant sorcery or whatever. Whereas if you play a 1/3, you can like block their thing, and then have it be useful for mana later. So I think this is a little bit worse. I think this is a little bit worse than that 2 mana 1/3 that I'm talking about. But anyway, it's filler. Whatever. Vivisection, 3 and a blue, sorcery. Is an additional cost to cast this, sacrifice a creature, draw 3 cards. Yeah, we've seen this card before. Potentially very good, right? Especially because there's a lot of cards that you want to sacrifice in this format. Yeah, drawing 3 cards is great. I don't know if you're first picking this, but maybe. Probably not. Maybe in a weaker pack, or like if you're already in that sort of deck that has stuff that you want to sack, then it becomes a little bit better. Yeah, break time. I'll leave this on black. Go refresh my water. I'm out of water. I'll be back in a few minutes.